doing, you bird brain?
What do you do, backflips? You jump up there in a silly suit? What do you do?
Yo, bam! I want you to play that.
Good afternoon, everybody. What's happening? Fast Freddie here, ready to do another episode of Fast Freddie Rocks Youngstown from the Youngstown studios right here in downtown Youngstown. Actually turned out to be a pretty nice day. We've got a little sunshine out here in downtown, and we are definitely ready to rock the house. So I didn't have a guest for today, so you know what that means. Viking Jim will be rolling in here in a little bit. whenever we get to the point where we can't find a single solitary guest to come on the show, it's like, hey, Vike, what are you doing? And to entice Vike, I think we're going to try a little bit of Crown today. We got a bottle of Crown. Even though I got my Jack Daniel's shirt on today, I figured, well, we'll try a little bit of Crown Royal. And, of course, the official beer of the Youngstown studio, Penguin City Beer. Good stuff there. Solid beer for solid people, and they make it right here in Youngstown. So where am I at? All right over there. So we got a lot of stuff going on here today, or we're going to try to make something happen anyways. Mario is here. Joe's heading out for a nice vacation to sunny Florida. As he walked out of the place, he reminded us that it was going to be 80 degrees in Florida. So, yeah, thank you, Joe. We appreciate that weather update. I thought we were all going to pack in his motorhome and do our show from the road.
Would have been nice.
That would have been great. We could do that. You know, we just all jump in the motorhome, start rolling down I-77, and here we go. FLA, here we come, man.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been nice for like next week? We did all our shows from the beach.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have minded. I don't know what the service is like down on the beach, but I'd figure it out.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure it out somewhere. Yeah. We might have to go to a tiki bar or something, but if that's the way it was going to be, you know, count me in. Yeah. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of random stuff. I got a whole list of stupid criminals in the news today. Some of them from the Youngstown area. Well, actually, now that all the Trump and the election and everything is over, you're starting to get back to more of these, you know, stupid criminal in the news type stories, because when they first, you know, when they only throw those on when they have some extra space. And so now it looks like they have some extra space, and we got some good ones. We got a little bit of rock history coming up. We got a whole lot of stuff here to get to. I might as well get it started. Today is the birthday of Van Halen's first album. It's hard to believe that album came out in 1978. Whenever I start talking about rock history anymore, I don't even want to say when it came out or how old it is, because it really makes me feel old. And then it even makes the music sound or feel old. You just want to say, hey, Van Halen's first album is celebrating a birthday today, and I can remember when I bought it when it first came out. But that is one of those albums that I think there's not a clunker on the whole album. The whole album, every song on that album is just killer. You know, like they say, you know, the old saying, all killer, no filler. And that's exactly what that first album is. And I can remember when it first came out, and my one buddy had it on 8-track, and his name was Jim Eska, and him and his brother, they had two of the coolest cars back in the day. He had this badass, you know, the original bitchin' Camaro, jet black bitchin' Camaro. Yeah. And his brother had the probably like the 76 Trans Am, and it was orange, and you know the eagle, you know, the bird on the front. It was bad to the bone. So these two guys had two of the coolest cars going at that time that we knew, you know, that we would hang out and actually ride in. You know? But I can remember we had that 8-track Van Halen, the first album, and we would ride up and down the strip in Geneva with that thing just cranked, and it was like, yeah, look at us, look how cool we are, man. Yeah, and it was just a good album. Every song on there, Jamie's Crying, Ain't Talking About Love, Ice Cream Man. What other ones am I? You know, Eruption, and You Really Got Me. You know, you're driving down in that Geneva on the lake, and Saturday night in the summer, and this bitchin' Camaro, and just, you know, just cranking it. It was just. I think I can't wait to Feel Your Love Tonight is on that one as well. I'm trying to think of all the songs off the top of my head, but boy, that was a that was a great album, and it changed music a lot because Eddie's guitar playing had so much influence on people, and it was like kind of a combination because I think up until that point you had your guitar heroes, your 70s guitar heroes, and then maybe you had your like front man in some of these other metal bands or hair bands. Well, hair bands came a little bit later, but it was, it was, you had the crazy front man, David Lee Roth, but then you had this kick-ass guitarist who was just so original and so unique. And that's what really made a difference from that. I remember the first time we were supposed to go see Van Halen. Me and my buddies were supposed to go see Van Halen, and they were opening for Black Sabbath at the Richfield Coliseum.
All right.
So I don't know what the heck happened, but it seemed like we left Youngstown at about 4:00 in the afternoon, and we pull into the Richfield Coliseum, and we go in, and we must have been really, really buzzed. So we go into the Richfield Coliseum, and we see them just setting up the stage, and we're like, boy, we got here in record time.
Right.
And next thing you know, we're talking to these guys around us. And we go, man, I can't wait to see that band Van Halen. Oh, they're so kick-ass. I heard everything about them because nobody really knew a lot about Van Halen at that time. This is just when they were first coming out. And the guy goes, dude, man, Van Halen already played. We're like, how could they already play? Yeah. It seemed it was like we got lost in a time warp between Youngstown and Richfield. Like it went from like 4:00 to 7:30, and we had no clue as to what was going on.
Yeah.
And then by that point, I'm like ready to pass out. I mean, I'm like pretty hammered. And so. And we bought these tickets that were like right next to the speakers. I think that's why it was one of those deals, you show up at the show and they say, oh, we opened up some new seats because we saw how everything's going to set up. So we got these seats, and we were like kind of right down in front, but we were just right in front of these speakers. Right. And me, I got kind of sick, and I'm just like passed out. And then all of a sudden though, Sabbath hit Iron Man, and I just was like, I was recharged.
That didn't like blow out your eardrums or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think my ears are still ringing from that one. But even though as loud as it was, I was still like, I was out there for a while.
Is that one of the best concerts that you've ever seen in person, or like where are we at in terms of the scale of all the concerts you've been
that's
to?
Not even on the.
Those are classic rock icons, right?
Yeah. But so I've seen Van Halen a couple times with Sammy, with Dave, but no, my number one best all-time concert has to be Bob Dylan's 30th anniversary show at Madison Square Garden. This show was like 4 hours of one superstar after another. It was just, it was an incredible night. And it was probably the biggest gathering of top name people for a non-benefit. It wasn't like for Live Aid. It wasn't for concert for Bangladesh or helping anybody. It was just a tribute to Bob Dylan, and it was at Madison Square Garden.
What genres did these people come from?
Well, I'll run down some of the. I'll run down probably as many of them as I can remember off the top of my head. Okay. It started out with John Mellencamp, and he come out and did Like a Rolling Stone and Leopard Skin Pillbox Hat. They all did Bob Dylan songs. Okay. And then after that, Stevie Wonder come out, and he did Blowing in the Wind. And then throughout the evening, it started progressing. And then Johnny Cash was there. Willie Nelson was there. Johnny and June. Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder come out, and he did Masters of War. Lou Reed was there. Lou Reed did a song. Wow. Let's see. The OJs were there. I think George Thorogood was there. Sinead O'Connor was there, and she got booed off stage. That was right after she tore up the picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live. Yeah. Only time I really ever seen somebody get booed off a stage. Yeah. And Chris Christopherson was the MC at that point, and he goes, "Oh, don't let the bastards get you down," and he walks her off the stage, and she's crying, and everybody's booing, and it was like, holy shit, man.
Was Bob there?
Oh, I'm getting to it.
Right.
Oh, hold on. Right. Okay, this is just for starters, and then
so these are the opening acts.
Yeah, wow. And then the Clancy brothers were there. Mm-hmm. And then Chrissy Hine from the Pretenders comes out, and she does a song.
Yeah.
And then it was Neil Young, and he did Watchtower and something else.
Okay.
And then Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers come out, and they did License to Kill and Rainy Day Women. And then after that, then George Harrison come out, and he did Queen Jane.
Okay.
Or no. I think he did If Not For You, and then he did another one. So George Harrison now comes out and does a couple of songs.
Okay.
Now, after that, here comes Eric Clapton. And Eric Clapton does a couple of songs. Mm-hmm. And then after that, here comes Neil Young, or Neil Young was in there. And so then the next thing is Roger McGuinn from the Byrds, Tom Petty, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, Neil Young, and Bob come out, and they do My Back Pages.
Yeah.
And then after that, Slash was there. All
right.
So it was like a 4-hour concert, and it was just like one superstar after another all night. And then at the end, they did Knocking on Heaven's Door. And
together?
Everybody. They wound up with this jam, and all these superstars are on stage, and then and then there's Clapton's guitar, and Knocking on Heaven's Door above everything. And I'll tell you that would be number one on the list.
Was that the only time they did that?
Yes,
Madison Square Garden, one night only.
One night only.
Yeah,
1993. And
that's amazing.
It was incredible. Oh, Ronnie Wood from the Stones was there. I know I'm forgetting a few people, but it was just like every big star. It was just one after another. Lou Reed, Eddie Vedder, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, John Mellencamp, Stevie Wonder, all just huge names. I mean, when they did that My Back Pages, I mean, just think of that on that stage, and you could look that up. That's now when I watch that video, even more today, you're like, wow, that really meant something. It was really a rock and roll moment because, when would you ever have Neil Young, Tom Petty, Roger McGuinn, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Eric Clapton, and Tom Petty all on the stage?
Yeah.
And, since then, we've lost... we lost Tom Petty. We lost George Harrison since then. I mean, that was like,
Lou Reed still around?
What's that?
Lou Reed's not still around, right?
No, Lou Reed's passed away. Johnny Cash is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people from that show that aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
But it was incredible. And then probably my second best, it would be a tie because there was three of them. The Eric Clapton Crossroads Guitar Festival.
Yeah.
And that he started that in Texas. So I didn't get a chance to go to the one in Texas. And then he did two in Chicago.
Yeah.
And once again, those were just all day, all night. And I mean, he had all these blues guys and Johnny Winter and B.B. King and Hubert Sumlin and all these old blues guys that he paid tribute to. And of course, Buddy Guy, Ronnie Wood from the Stones, Allman Brothers.
Okay. This was Texas?
Derek Trucks. This was in a stadium.
Okay.
And I mean, it was huge. And then at one of them, they had, Jeff Beck, and they had him and Steve Winwood did like a Blind Faith reunion, and they were doing like all these old songs together, like Can't Find My Way Back Home and In the Presence of the Lord and all those songs. I think they did Dear Mr. Fantasy. And I mean, it was that was another one. It was just an all day, one superstar after another, several different guys getting up there and jamming. And Buddy Guy and Ronnie Wood were up there. I think they did which Stone song did they do? maybe they did Miss You. I think they did Miss You.
Okay.
And then the day before the show, we went down to Buddy Guy's Club Legends, and Ronnie Wood stopped in for a guest shot, and they did about 3 songs there. So and then the third Eric Clapton Guitar Festival was in. The third Eric Clapton Guitar Festival was in Madison Square Garden again.
Okay.
And so me and Cornell Bogdan and his brother and Jim Bogus, who's the manager over at Packard Music Hall, we go to the show, right? And I mean, tickets for this were like, just the regular ticket was like $350 maybe.
Okay.
Probably the most I've ever paid for a concert ticket.
Okay.
And now once again, you had this all-star lineup. It was
You get your money's worth out of it, absolutely.
It was, Eric Clapton, Guy Clark Jr., Allman Brothers, of course. I'm sure Ronnie Wood was there. John Mayer. I think one of the highlights was John Mayer and Keith Urban, and they did the Beatles' "Don't Let Me Down," and they were just jamming on this thing like mad jam. You could look that one up too. It was just crazy.
Okay.
And then you had all these other blues people there, like because Eric Clapton would always bring the blues guys in, and it was Eric Clapton, and then he was jamming with the Allman Brothers and that sort of thing. But the crazy thing about that show is, we're going to the show. We go to the Akron airport. We're ready to get on the plane.
Okay.
And then the lady behind the counter says, sorry, your flight's been canceled. So we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
We're just about all ready to just go through the roof.
Yeah.
Because then the lady said, and we said, well, what can we do? And she goes, well, you'll just have to book it for another day, like that, We're like,
okay.
We're going to a once in a lifetime concert in New York City.
Yeah.
And she's just telling us you can't get there.
And she wasn't like messing with you, or she's like,
no. And it was just like, well, I'm sorry, sir. You would just have to buy a ticket for another day. We'll transfer your funds or whatever. So now, we lucked out, and we were able to find a flight from Cleveland to Baltimore. So now we get in a car and we fly up the Cleveland airport from the Akron airport, and we get on this flight to Baltimore, and then we rent a car from Baltimore to New York City.
Is that 3 hours?
Something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's almost rush hour. Okay. And Cornell's brother was driving, and he was driving like he was in the Indianapolis 500. And you know how I-95 between Baltimore and New York City is probably the most jam-packed with traffic that you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
So we get up there, and we're battling traffic to get all the way, through New York City, and we're coming through Manhattan and everything. We found a parking space right in front of Madison Square Garden, less than a block away on the street. We come pulling up there, and we go, is that a parking spot?
Oh my God.
And we were like, holy shit, it is a parking spot. And then, so the next thing you know, we pull in there, we walk in, we get to our seats just as the concert started.
That's amazing.
And that was our day.
When you swerve into the spot and just
yeah. No, it was like something out of a movie.
Oh my God.
And we just pulled in there right at the exact moment and got a parking spot right in front, and in we went, and next thing you know, here comes Eric Clapton. I think he started off with a little acoustic set, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and then those would be like, so I would say the Bob Dylan anniversary concert was probably number one.
Yeah.
And then the Eric Clapton guitar festivals all together would be like number two. I'd lump them. And then number three, I know a lot of the old farts were at this one. This is because this was the legendary concert. Everybody around here talks about it all the time. It was the World Series of Rock in 1978, and the lineup was Thin Lizzy with Phil Lynott. It was the Scorpions, their first ever show in America.
Okay.
And Journey at like their peak. Journey was like at their best, and AC/DC with Bon Scott, and I can remember Angus was like on Bon was on like Angus's shoulders or something, or it was the other way around, and they're out in the middle of the crowd playing the guitar. And this was back in the day where there was no wireless guitars. They just had a long
XLR
cord.
Oh my
and
God.
So they're out there jamming, and then it was Aerosmith. Aerosmith really sucked. I mean, they were all messed up, but I think everybody enjoyed them anyways. But they broke up that day because I guess the band just had this big falling out, and they break up that day. And then the headliner was Ted Nugent when Ted was in his prime, man. And I mean, he just come out there and just rocked the place. You know, I think that's when Double Live Gonzo was out and he was doing all those songs, you know.
Yeah.
Cat Scratch Fever and Stranglehold. And
you think we'll ever see something of that scope again?
I don't know. You know,
who do we have now? You know, who do we pull for this?
Well, this past summer they were going to do that one with Joan Jett and Def Leppard,
classics,
and Motley Crue and Poison. I think.
Okay,
I think that would be pretty big, but I don't see. You know.
Just the talent that you're name dropping right now. It's just I don't think that exists today in like reincarnated forms, really. You know,
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I don't. If it was like all new bands, because these bands were all like either at their peak or, you know, Scorpions' first American tour. You know, first show they ever played in the United States, and everybody loved them. And you know, Thin Lizzy. You know, I don't know where we'll find.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you'll see anything like that anymore.
That's great. You got to see it though when it happened.
Oh, yeah.
3 times and in 3 different sets, 3 different combinations. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Shoot.
So those are probably my top 4 or 5 concerts. Then I got a ton of other ones, but you know, that I like for different reasons. And Bruce Springsteen, when the big man's last show, that was a memorable concert.
The Boss.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Drunk in an SUV.
I just finished
in an SUV.
I just finished Sopranos the other day with my brother, and I did not realize who Steven Van Zandt was.
Oh, really?
Until I was like, I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I was like, wait a second, I think I have seen him before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that killed me.
Okay.
I could not believe it.
Yeah.
Because I'm, you know, six years of technically of footage watching him.
Right.
So it was amazing. That
You gotta love The Sopranos, though. That's still my all-time favorite.
Yeah, that's a good show. That's a classic.
Yep. Well, look who showed up, man. I busted out the bottle waiting for you. I figured you'd be here unless you.
Sorry, I thought we were on Fast Freddy time.
I know. How about that, man?
I know. Oh, heck.
Oh, heck. Why don't you sit down? Viking Jim. You know, usually when I have.
I'm going to steal some of this crown off this young man. I brought myself a little LaCroix.
I have some
fancy.
LaCroix myself.
You know what this goes good with?
Everything.
A lovely Merlot.
Well, we might have some in the back. Or do you want a lovely Merlot? I think we got that purple rain wine in the back. What do you want? Vino, or are you going to go Crown?
Hit me with some of that Crown. What the hell? It's been one of those days, bud.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, good to see you.
Well, I'd have been here earlier, but, you know, Liz is a news hound.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to get political because I don't want to see the angry posts.
Okay. All right.
But I'm just saying she's a news hound. And so when I got home, the impeachment was on, and I'm just.
Is that enough for you to start?
I can start with that. Thank you very much.
Is that enough? I don't want to.
It's okay, man.
All right. I don't want to offend you.
It's not like
anything.
I didn't drink any at home before I came down here. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's
okay. Now
that's unusual.
Where the hell is my camera? Is it over there?
Wherever you're pointing at.
Wait. I got to do this. I feel like you remember when you used to go to the Sears or wherever at the mall, and you'd walk in and they'd have the TVs hooked up to a remote camera, and you're like going, "Hey, I'm on TV."
Oh, everybody used to love that. When that first come out, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's check in. Hey, our buddy Harry George checking in this afternoon.
Georgie!
Good to hear from George. He liked the NASCAR promo I did for the Ice House.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious, dude.
Yeah, just
Where
watch it to the end. Yeah. I haven't.
And the thing about it is, that was like ad-libbed. You actually forgot where you were.
Yes.
That's the funny part.
That is the funny part.
Oh, kiddo.
And Jay Bird wrote some kind of comment about why, you can't remember or whatever. I was like, dude, you were sitting in that exact same stool the last time I saw you. Let's see who else is checking in today. Billy Barth checking in.
Cousin Randy's out there somewhere.
Oh, okay. Jerry Ladd checking in. Randy Cox, Jeff McFalls, Jimmy Stiles, how you doing? Leslie Bell, as always, checking in. Yeah, Jay Bird's checking in today.
Cool.
Dino Sachia. Hey, everybody, Crazy checking in today.
Oh, crazy,
man.
Yo, what up, man?
Oh, face
Been a long time since I seen that kid.
Andrea Alicia is checking in from the Tribune Chronicle. Patricia Reynolds checking in today from out in Cortland. Lori Mercer, how are you? Let's see who else is on here. Carol Manley, Luba, how are you? Gino Gordon. Chach, good to hear from you, man. Pam Miller, I'm sure she's enjoying these old rock and roll stories. I'm sure she has a few of them herself.
Pardon me, Fred, while I disrobe.
Turtle, Terry Day, William Bernicki, my friend Elizabeth, Barb Cerny, Rose Marie.
Bob Cerny, you got to be kidding me.
What's that?
Bob Cerny.
Barb.
Oh, Barb. I thought you said Bob, because that's old school Cedars blood right there.
Oh, okay. No, that's...
Anyway, let me sit my sorry ass down.
So you ready for the Daytona? Boogity, boogity, boogity?
Let's go racing, boys. You know, I thought to my... And I don't want to get political again.
Okay.
But I'm just going to say.
All right.
I went through a pretty good NASCAR period there where I was rooting for Richard Petty's boy.
Uh-huh.
And I had that 45 car hat.
I know.
Kyle Petty.
Kyle Petty. By God.
I wonder, like if I would get crap from somebody for wearing like an old school Kyle Petty cap.
Why would you?
Because it says 45 on it. Anyway,
okay.
Anyway, a lot on the brain today. What do you got going on? What did you think of the Super Bowl?
Well, since I won some money on the Super Bowl, I think it was great.
Oh, yeah, you made out, did you?
Yeah, I did, for a change.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you get a good chunk of change?
Not a good chunk, but a chunk.
It made you happy. It was enough.
Well, it wasn't a chunk, but a little piece.
Yeah.
A little more than I came with.
That's all right. You know, my problem is we turned it off at halftime because, Tampa Bay's kind of rolling here. It's pretty much in the bag.
Yeah.
If you want to say it was predestined or not. And of course, so were we. But we turned it off and we wound up missing the best part was the streaker. Dude. And the guy made like $300,000, and he did the whole thing because he saw something pop up on a betting site that said, here's the odds of a streaker. Or not even streaker, somebody jumping onto the field to disrupt the Super Bowl. What are the odds? And everybody's like, what the hell? The odds of that are like astronomical.
Yeah.
First of all, not wanting to get your ass beat by stadium security. And second of all...
Or sometimes the players will jump on the streakers.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And on top of that, though, he not only figured he could pull it off, he got some like porn company sponsor to do this thing.
Well, no, that's his company.
Oh, it's his company. Okay, I did not know that.
He's like an influencer. He does all kind of goofy stuff like that.
You want to talk the influencer, you know?
Yeah, he's an influencer, and he has 10 million viewers.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize he had that many viewers. But the thing is, it was genius. Because not only did he get exposure for his company then, which I didn't realize.
Oh yeah, no, he has all. He was he got arrested for climbing the pyramids. He does all kinds of goofy stuff. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
that guy. Okay, well that guy's a fucking genius.
Jaybird says he wants to see Denny Hamlin win 3 straight. Never been done yet. Well, we'll see.
No, it ain't ever been done.
You know what though? NASCAR just ain't what it used to be.
No,
if
it
you
ain't.
ask me.
It ain't. And I was thinking about this as the 500 approaches because I got turned on to NASCAR by a friend of mine in junior high school back at old Austintown Middle School. Like we're talking like mid-70s. Kid's name was Rich Berry. And his dad, Dick, used to run short track out at...
Dick Barrett.
Dick Berry.
Oh, Barry.
Okay.
Okay, I thought you said Dick Barrett.
Anyway,
he used
Beavis
and Butthead here.
Well, my buddy Rich's dad used to run short track out at Sharon, and anywhere else he could get onto a track, and always had a car in the garage wrenching on it, and that was right around the same time when they first started putting the Daytona on. And one of the first races I ever saw was, of course, Richard Petty going lapping. Who was fighting? Was Cale Yarborough against on the infield. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, that was one of the first.
I want to say Bobby Ellison, but I might be wrong.
It was Bobby and Donnie Allison. It was the Allison brothers. I think you're right. But that stuck in my head. And I really used to like when it was, and you know, me being a history geek, I got into the whole, history of the sport and everything. And the old run what you brung, or when it even moved into stock cars, which at least were different, and you could tell what a Charger was. and whatnot. And now it's just like, here are the generic cars.
Yes.
And it's just,
and they all fit the template and this and that. You know how I got into NASCAR?
Tell me, Fred, testify.
I got into NASCAR probably about 1980, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And I was reading the sport, I was outside of Youngstown. What do I know about, the roundy rounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Sharon Canfield Speedway a few times.
Right.
And NASCAR used to run out there. I think.
Back in the day, yes. In the old days, like the 50s, they used to run out there. And even into the 70s, I remember Dad taking us out there for small circuit cars.
That was one of the first dirty T-shirts I ever saw in my life. Was at the Canfield Fairgrounds for racing. It was the Tijuana Pussy Posse, and it was like a Mexican bandito holding a cat by its tail. And I still remember that. That's like probably the
Try
first.
doing that today, pal.
That's the first dirty T-shirt I remember seeing.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. But the Daytona, you're going to have a party over at the you-know-where?
Ice House.
Where?
Oh, yeah. Whatever the hell the name of this place is. Somewhere. There's going to be a Daytona 500 party somewhere, and I hope that I remember where I'm going to be there.
I might stick my head out of my turtle shell.
Oh, so anyways, getting back to the boogity boys.
Right, yep.
Yeah, so I just saw one time there was this article in there about Dale Earnhardt, and he spun some guy out, and he got into a fight, and all this crazy stuff. And I'm reading, I'm going, who the heck is this guy? Then the next week in the paper, same thing.
Right.
And it's like, wow. And then I got into it from that because
This
I
guy's
started
kind
being
of an
a
asshole,
three-car.
but I like it. And,
I like the
yeah.
three-car.
And that was like when I think he had gone for, he started getting that reputation when he was driving for Wrangler was his sponsor.
Yes, right.
But when he started driving that black number 3 for Goodwrench, and it just kind of like took it to the next level. And by God, I don't care if you're a fan of Dale or not, but you got to respect the man.
Oh, no kidding,
I mean,
man.
I will tell you, I am a Richard Petty boy, but I'll guarantee you, Richard respects, definitely respects.
Oh, and when him
Dale.
and Rusty used to go at it, and then him and Jeff Gordon really had a pretty good rivalry going too.
The one NASCAR race I ever went to. Remember when I went to the Michigan 500?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And a couple of things stuck with me at that race. There's so many stories I had from that weekend. Much less running into the Canadians that had the really good weed. And the thing about it is when you go to the Michigan 500, back in the day at least, you used to expect to see a bunch of rebel flags flying at a NASCAR event in the United States. But when you go up to Michigan, you don't see Confederate flags. You see maple leaves. And them Canadian rednecks come down for that shit, and they have a ball. We were camped next to some of them. But the things I remember from that race was, first of all, they weren't running Bush at the time. What they called it at the time, kids, back in the day. But they were running an ARCA race. And in that race was Jerry Glanville.
Really?
Yeah. Remember when Jerry Glanville retired from coaching? He said, I'm going to go run race cars. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go have fun. And so he was in the ARCA race, and at one point, and my God, I can't remember his name, and I went with him to the fucking race, and I'm embarrassed now. But anyway, it was the ARCA race. He didn't care. He was letting me listen to his headset because he had, one of the tuner headsets, so he could listen to the pit boss up in the tower. And at one point of the race, and I think it was toward the end of the ARCA run, but if you've ever been to Michigan, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, bit of a semi-oval, but they come around the straightaway in front of the grandstand, and suddenly you see a little bit of smoke coming out of Glanville's car. By the time he hits 1, 2, and he's in the stretch going up into 3, his pit boss is in the tower, the spotter, I guess, not the pit boss, but the spotter.
Pit boss is in Vegas.
But, Coach, car's on fire. Coach, got some smoke there. Car's on fire. Coach, car's on fire. Coach, the car's on fire. And this guy's freaking out on the radio. But there's Jerry Glanville coasting back the backstretch, coming around 3, down into 4, coasts up into the pit like he's stopping for fuel, and climbs out of the car. It was brilliant. I earned a whole new respect for Jerry Glanville just because of that. But the other weird thing that happened up there was Carl and Jim, Carl Slagle, Jim Gahagan from the Car Care Show.
Yeah.
They were at the race, and they were in the Napa tent, hospitality suite, whatever you call it, with, oh, Jesus, now it just slipped out of my brain. Daryl's Mikey Waltrip. Yeah, Mikey Waltrip. And they were trying to get a hold of me because they knew I was there. And they called to try to get my number to somebody who shall go nameless, Denny Liebert. And Den told him that, well, no, I think his wife's with him and he's got the cell phone or whatever. But anyway, I never got the call. Oh. I could have been hanging out in a freaking hospitality tent with Mikey Waltrip.
That would have been very cool.
Oh, my God.
That would have been very cool.
Hey, at least I got to hug Jurgen Klopp and meet Bruce Springsteen, so I suppose I'll go to my grave happy.
Debbie Bucherri checking in.
Hi, Deb. How you doing, sweetheart? I had the weirdest. She had a cameo in one of my dreams the other night.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, it was clean, Fred. But no, it was just like really sweet because like I've seen her in my dreams sooner than I've seen her in person. I'm glad she's around.
Dylan Larson checking in. Wild Bill's son, and his grandfather used to race out at Canfield.
Oh,
they
nice.
have all kind of great pictures. Every once in a while, his old man will throw some pictures
Cool.
of granddad out at the track. Back in the day, man, those were such cool days. My buddy Glenn checking in here today. I got to say, one of our here. You want a penguin?
You know
Penguin
what?
City?
I haven't even had. By the way,
let's drink to something.
Let's have a drink. Let's have a toast. Here's to you and here's to me. Never mind.
You want to do the Ukrainian toast?
Let's do a Ukrainian toast.
You're married to a Ukrainian girl. Do you know the Ukrainian toast?
I don't know a Ukrainian toast because she's half Irish.
Okay.
Anyway.
But here we go.
I know.
I say Budmo, and you go, hey.
Okay.
And then I'll go Budmo, and then you say, hey.
What do you lure me into? I'm going to play along.
No. This is the real toast. And then at the end, I'll say Budmo, and you go, hey. You know, somebody, like Mad Dog got the Ziggy Zaggy and stuff. I think I'm going to use
Hoy.
I think I'm going to do the Ukrainian toast.
Well, let's give it up. All right, let's go.
Okay, Budmo!
What do I say?
Hey.
Okay, try to start over.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Budmo!
Hey!
Budmo!
Hey!
Budmo!
Hey! I think it works. Fred, you're a genius.
Yum. Now on with the show. Should I crack a penguin?
Don't drink against the grain of the liquor. Oh no, but crack a penguin. How many penguins? You got more than one?
There for
Give me one.
What do you think?
I thought
man?
you just had one over there. This is a delicious beer.
I think this could be like the Iron City of Youngstown.
You know what? It could be bigger than that.
I think so.
And they've got that new facility down the road.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing, and I've known those kids forever.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's old Cedars fam right there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the funniest days at the racetrack was when me and you were at Sharon Speedway.
Oh, dude.
And your buddy Carpenter took to the track. We're talking about going back to the old days.
Oh my God, what was that? It was a Buick. What was it?
I think he had like a Buick LeSabre or something.
Yeah. Was it a LeSabre or was it a Rivy? But it was like an 80s Rivy without the shark fin. It was some beat to shit old Buick, a total POS car.
And the guy just painted the number on the car.
With spray.
The spray paint was still dripping down the side of the car.
It looked worse than the demolition derby car I drove for the Royal Oaks.
And he gets out there and Vike's going, who's that in that number 8 car? That's my guy right there. And it was Buddy Carpenter.
Run what you run.
Independence.
Run what you brung, I mean. Oops. But yeah, that was a brilliant night, man. We had such fun up at that
And so
track.
anyways, Buddy Carpenter does like about 3 laps. Next thing you know,
over the wall.
Barrel roll over the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Into the parking lot.
Like he spun like 3 times before he landed. And just like you could physically feel the gasp from the crowd. And when he got out of that car, it was like, yeah, but I beat everybody else yelling by about a second, man. That was a beautiful night.
Was hilarious, man. Yeah, my boy, the last of the independents, Buddy Carpenter. Never heard of the guy since.
You know, that reminds me of a story about Richard Petty's old man that I heard about. They actually stole the transmission out of somebody's car in the parking lot at a race. And then wrote him a check for it later.
See, those are the good old days. That's when it was really racing.
But they're generic cars, and you know.
Harry George said plastic cars and plastic drivers.
That's exactly right, George. That's exactly right.
How about Larry Flint passing away? I thought Larry Flint was dead years ago.
I kind of did too when I saw it. I've had to check because I wanted to make sure it wasn't one of my asshole friends posting something that had happened 10 years ago.
Right. I did the same thing.
But I looked and I was kind of surprised that he'd survived that long. But the thing is, say what you want about your pornography and whatnot. Larry Flint was a great American. And he fought for the First Amendment. And he fought for your right to take Junior to the circus. You know, that's the thing, like, because I grew up in the 70s. He fought
for your right to take a picture of your hillbilly wife in your house trailer naked and send it in to beaver hunt.
I know a dude I'm not going to name because I don't want to embarrass the cat, but I know a dude that had his ex-girlfriend show up in the beaver hunt. But my favorite part of the beaver hunt that always made me laugh was one for Fido. You know, it was just some dude to take a picture of his dog laying on her back and like send it in as a joke. One for Fido.
And for people that really don't remember what beaver hunt was all about,
look it up on the Google machine. But
it was people who just send it. It was like amateur. This was like way before like amateur porn even. It was these guys that would take a Polaroid picture of their wife, their girlfriend, their old lady, some tramp they picked up in a bar or whatever.
This was like a pickup site online before online existed. It was published in a magazine monthly. But that's another thing that's gone by the wayside with the advent of the internet is these swinger magazines.
Oh yeah,
with the like page upon page upon page upon page upon page, and it was all like ads for, hey, open-minded so-and-so looking for open-minded so-and-so to do so-and-so.
Well, remember they had that swinger club out by Yankee Lake.
Oh, yeah.
The country home. Yeah. The old country home. And that was like the real deal out there.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I don't judge the lifestyle. I've done some pretty greasy crap in my life. I'm not saying it's great. Anyway, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that, like, for some reason, I've run into it more times in my life than I care to count. But that's as far as I'll go. Because, I mean, just for me personally, it's not my bag, man. Like, you know, like even if you go to the whole like supposed like stereotypical male fantasy of the menage a trois and the 2-for-1 and whatnot, I'm like, yeah, well, that's all good in theory, but dude, I can barely handle one.
Yeah, why would I disappoint two women at once?
Exactly. Thank you, Fred.
Well, here's one. This couple, it's funny you should mention this. This couple decided that they wanted to get into polygamy and they wanted to go out and do their own thing. This is going to be a documentary on HBO.
Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
They thought they would, be able to keep a relationship, but bring other people in.
It ain't gonna work.
And they were doing things like Skyping each other if they were with somebody else. And
dude, that's crazy because and I don't even mean physically, like in bed handle more than one woman or person or whatever you're into. I can barely handle even being married, much less screwing. Okay, it becomes a job, kids. Be warned.
But anyways, they went out and did all this kinky stuff, and because they were saying that would improve their relationship, or they would learn something from somebody, or they would send videos to each other doing other people. Dude. And all this crazy stuff. It's going to be a documentary on HBO. They didn't give the ending, but they started getting into all this, bondage and threesomes and all this crazy stuff. But they don't say how it ends because they want you to watch the show.
That's the thing, though, that makes me
know what's going to happen. Okay, I mean, they're probably going to split up.
I don't know. It's just to a point. I've gotten to with these reality shows, documentaries, whatever the hell you want to call them. This kind of came to my mind watching that 30 Days In or whatever the hell it was called, where like they put this. They get average citizens. Have you seen this show?
You know what? I never understood what it was about. I never really comprehended what the whole thing was about.
Well, the deal was like they got like people, like civilians, to be snitches in jail to make this TV show. And like as you watch the show progress, at first it's like, oh wow, but you get to a point where it's like, okay, no. That guy'd be dead by now. And it started to look very scripted. So with any of these kind of shows, you have to wonder how much is like wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
These two, supposedly, this is a real deal. They wanted to do this and see if polygamy would work and all this. And,
Jesus.
But you have to watch the HBO show.
I haven't got enough energy to screw my own wife, much less screwing somebody else's. I swear to God. I mean, when I was a kid, my old man used to tell me.
She's Skyping you, and you're like, come on, honey, hurry up. Liverpool soccer is coming on here.
No, it's just silly, man, because like, compared to like the pulp porn novels I used to find in my dad's lunchbox.
Oh, jeez.
Compared to like where I'm at today. Because like when I got into my 20s and whatnot, my old man, look, it's not that important. Don't worry about it. It's all right. And I didn't believe him. I thought he was full of shit. But again, another thing my dad told me, he was right.
How about that?
It's crazy.
I'll drink to that. Old man Vike. There you go. In your Pulp Fiction porno books in your lunchbox.
Not my lunchbox, my dad's lunchbox.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Which, by the way, my dad's lunchbox from United Engineering and Foundry Company, later Ween United, is on display down at the Youngstown Historical Center of Industry and Labor.
Now getting back to Larry Flint. Is Hustler still out there? Is Hustler still out there?
I don't know. I haven't actually seen it. I brought this up to my buddy Rich the other few days, whenever the hell ago, 5 years ago, who fucking knows. But I haven't seen an actual print magazine porn in
Penthouse.
Well, here's the thing.
Show.
With Larry Flint, with Hustler, he broke the boundary.
Oh yeah, he was he was Mr. Pink. Let's see what's
exactly.
Let's see what's inside. Let's see what's tucked up inside there.
You know what I mean? There's more down there than hair. And that's the thing. And you and I have had this debate over the years because, frankly, you're a boob guy.
Well, I like a nice butt too.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've never been that guy, and I'm just saying this with all due respect to the ladies because I love you. I'm just saying that's not where the goodies are. And when people get into that mode where, oh, look at those. Well, you know what? I haven't needed one of those since I was 3, okay? And that was a little late. Just saying.
Okay. But anyways, Harry George says Hustler's still out there.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll have to go pick up a copy. But no, it was astounding to me because
you have so much stuff though that's online now for free, just hardcore. It's like, it's just put all these guys out of business. Playboy and all those. I think Playboy's still out there, but they were going to do like semi-nude, but then I don't even know.
They actually got rid of it altogether, I think, in Playboy for a while. But
the
thing about Larry is like, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Continue.
It was breaking such ground that it was graphic, more graphic than anything you'd ever seen. I hope this makes sense. It was to publicly available pornography what All in the Family was to American primetime television. It was like, what?
He had those naked pictures of Jackie O.
Oh.
And you know what?
Walking down the beach.
I guess, though, Aristotle sent those to him.
No kidding.
Because he wanted to teach Jackie a lesson or something. But he was involved in sending those pictures to Larry.
The People versus Larry Flint with Woody Harrelson. Fuck, great film. Great film. But the thing I think of also that makes me laugh, and here's the thing about Hustler, it wasn't just a porno mag. There was a lot of humor in that magazine. And a lot of it was very gross and disgusting and inappropriate. But speaking as a person who has a gross and disgusting, inappropriate sense of humor, I'm not going to say my sense of humor was developed by that. But when I saw those mags,
like, yeah,
Chester the Molester, done. But yeah, that was it was when it first started. Because I mean, I grew up like mid-late 70s, and I had two older brothers, so of course there was always a stash of that stuff laying around. And when Hustler first started showing up in that stash, we were all astounded, because up to that time it had been either Playboy or Penthouse. And my older brother Joe had figured out a scheme where he would run up to the record mart at the Austintown Plaza, because after a month, they'd throw the porno mags in the dumpster.
Oh, okay.
And my brother had no problem dumpster diving for free porn. But when he got older and got old enough to get his hands on the stuff, and it started showing up in the family porn stash, you know what I mean?
The family porn stash. What was your mom looking at this point?
Oh, dude, no, don't get me started there, because when that happened, when she found it, all hell broke loose. Believe me.
Gracie hit the ceiling.
Oh, she flipped out. But that's a story for another day.
PJ says, I'm not sure who does the better Larry Flint impersonation drunk, Fred or Vike. Actually, Chrissy Patrick did the best Larry Flint.
Yabba dabba doobie.
Yeah, it was like,
hi.
Yeah. We had that one. It was Larry Flintstone. Larry Flintstone. He's the biggest perv you'll ever see. And then the whole thing was, him and Barney.
Wanting to have a swinger party with Betty and Wilma.
And Dino joins in.
Oh,
Dino
Jesus.
starts barking. And
what's wrong with this country, Fred? This country's going to hell.
Yabba dabba do me. That was the thing, Larry Flintstone.
If I'm not mistaken, the original voice of Larry Flintstone was Dana.
Yeah, Dana was the original voice of Larry Flintstone. You're right, Larry Flintstone.
He's
the biggest perv you'll ever see.
That's a beautiful thing. But no, I mean, and seriously,
from the town of Bedcock or something along those lines.
No, he couldn't have said that.
No, probably
I couldn't
not.
even work the 8-track machine or the cart machine at that time. What do I know?
Yeah. You know what I think is amazing? That there's still these bookshops out there, these adult bookstores with the mini movies inside.
Dude, are there really?
Yeah, that one on Market Street's still going.
It's still open? I haven't been by there in forever.
It's still wide open, and then, so to speak. And you drive along these, the interstates and stuff. They have them all over the place.
Damn.
I mean, if you're a truck driver and you're driving down the road, you feel that you have to pull in and go into a quarter movie booth.
I don't think they're a quarter anymore, Fred. That was 1985, pal.
Oh, they're probably $1 now. Probably the dollar bill changer on it. It takes dollar bills now.
Up all night at the Foster. That's all I'm going to say.
That was crazy. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we had Sean Posey here, a Youngstown hysterian. He's a hysterian. No, you're a hysterian. He's a historian.
Yeah. No, I watched that episode. Yeah, he was talking about the theaters in the area, and that bit on the Foster was great.
Back in the day when it was a real movie theater and it was just off the charts, but when we went there and we did this porno flick for the radio station, only radio station ever did that one, I'll tell you that. And it was something to see. Well, we had that whole adult movie film fest with Tanya Harding's Honeymoon and John Wayne Bobbitt, Frank and Peter or something it was called.
All kinds of crazy
Tommy
crap.
Lee and Pam Anderson, all these celebrity things. And
you know, all that one did was make me jealous anyway.
And one of the funniest ones, I was the stunt double driving the boat in that, in case you didn't know.
Oh, okay.
But one of the funniest things they had at the Foster, and I think if it's still there, it belongs in some kind of museum or something. Yeah. It was called the Buddy Booth.
Oh, the Buddy Booth.
And what the Buddy Booth was, is you could sit in your little compartment, your little cubicle, and watch a dirty movie for $0.25. And then if you hit the buddy button, you could watch your buddy sitting next to you.
Hey,
watching a freaking movie.
Just helping your buddy out. That's why they call it a buddy booth.
Hello, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Hey, boom, boom, boom. Fred, look at this. That's an actual chimpanzee. You know what? We need to put a live cam on the people going in and out of the building.
Are interesting people walking in and out?
No, well, it's not necessarily that they're particularly interesting. Other than that, they're looking at us while we're in here.
Oh, okay.
It makes them briefly interesting.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, so that's the Larry Flintstone. Gone but not forgotten. Beaver Hunt will live forever.
Dude, a great American. And like I said, Chester the Molester, man.
Oh, you know what we got to talk about today?
What's that?
And you know, I think they do this to piss people off.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Let's run down this list.
Okay, and I will say that I respect some but not all of these artists.
Okay.
But it's a scam. Go ahead, please.
LL Cool J.
All right.
Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
Fela Kuti. I don't even know. Feel Your Cooter. Somebody. I don't even know who that is. Again, Kate Bush. He said Bush. The New York Dolls. Rage Against the Machine. Foo Fighters.
The only Super Bowl commercial I liked, by the way.
Which one?
Paramount one with Beavis and Butthead in it. Anyway, go ahead.
Tina Turner, Carole King, The Go-Go's, Mary J. Blige, Jay-Z, Dionne Warwick, Chaka Khan, Devo, and Maiden.
Dude, I want Maiden to get in a way, but at the same time, I really don't acknowledge the hall, and I don't really care, but at the same time, why do you keep calling it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because there are and until you put the Rolling Stones into the Blues Hall of Fame, if they're not already, you know what I mean?
I know. It's crazy. Now, LL Cool J out. No way. LL Cool J is this rap or hip hop or whatever you want to call him. He's not rock and roll. And I don't even.
And with all due respect to LL Cool J, I like a lot of his material. He's a fine artist, but it ain't rock and roll.
Right. Todd Rundgren. It's amazing. Dude, Todd has not been in there.
That blows my mind.
Just for all the great records that he produced. Badfinger and Grand Funk Railroad and all these.
The producer stuff on top of the artist stuff is amazing. Yeah. First rock and roll concert I ever saw in my life at the Tomorrow Club in the summer of, 77? And
somewhere in there.
Todd was on tour for Herman and Mink Hollow. And he did a matinee at the Tomorrow Club so that the kids could come see him.
Right.
Which was me. And my older brothers and a friend of ours from high school named Tim Hugel took us to the show. And it was amazing. Why Todd is not in blows
Wizard and a
my
true
mind.
Star, man.
That's good shit.
Yeah, I was at that show because PJ said Cleveland screws everything up. Hey, shut up, PJ. You're done.
That guy shoots.
Block him.
You're talking to a guy that shoots squirrels for a living. And I'm telling you right now, PJ, my squirrel army is coming for you.
So anyways, now that Todd Rundgren show, that's when they recorded that Back to the Bars live album. And most of it was recorded in Akron. They did it, I think the Akron Agora or whatever was going on there. But they recorded most of it in Akron and Cleveland. But some people say that there might be some overdubs or some other thing because they did that. But he did 2 shows that day. He did a matinee and he did a regular show. Regular show?
Yeah.
I need another.
Have another one, Fred. It was the Hermit of Mink Hollow tour.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Oh my God.
You know what? I actually wrote a review for that album for a magazine and got paid. That was my first paid written thing. I love that album.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Have another drink. Have another toast.
Kate Bush, come on. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not really. New York Dolls. I could kind of see the Dolls because they did have an influence on a lot of the hair bands with the dress
and a lot of the
everything.
punk bands. And that's the beauty of the Dolls because that whole glam scene influenced both sides of that.
Except when they ran into Left End and almost got their asses beat. Did you ever hear that story? It's in Patsy's book. I think they were playing in Akron.
I have not read Patsy's book yet, but I can see that happening.
They had a run-in with the Dolls, and I guess the Left End Road crew and some of these Youngstown boys were like, "Who do you think you are?" And they went running with their tails between their legs too. Rage Against the Machine. I see why they're in there, but is it too soon?
You know, it might be too soon, but I've realized lately what an amazing guitarist Tom Morello is.
Oh, yeah.
And especially because I've got the XM a lot in the car, and I'll punch in the E Street radio, and it'll be something that, it's not even Rage stuff. It's just Morello and Bruce, but it's like, wow.
Oh, when they do the juiced up version of the Ghost of Tom Joad,
exactly.
and he just goes off on that.
Exactly the track I'm talking about, dude. Exactly.
Foo Fighters, they got to be in just because they're the Foo Fighters. And I think they would actually like to get the Foo Fighters in too because, hey, the induction ceremony is going to be in Cleveland. You got Dave in there, hometown boy. I think that would go good. I'm all for the Foos.
You know, the thing about the Foo Fighters is the first time I saw them, the epic story about when I took my first party bus to a concert, and it turned into a shit show. But the opening band was Foo Fighters, and it was Red Hot Chili Peppers headlining. And
how come I didn't get on that party bus? I must have had something going on.
You must have been at what's the name of that bar again?
The place where I always go where they sell booze.
The bike night. Ice House. Ice House in Daytona Party Sunday. Anyway, for all that happened, Foo Fighters blew the Chili Peppers away. But that was Chili Peppers when they had Dave Navarro. And it was like, nah. First time I saw Chili Peppers was Lollapalooza 2.
That was one of the best.
Dude. And it was like a total contrast between that show and the other show. But Foo Fighters were amazing. Absolutely amazing. He's a local boy, like it or not.
And that's why you probably want Devo to get in too from Akron.
Oh, dude, Devo's up.
I love Devo. I've seen Devo so many times. Tomorrow Club, Kent State, whenever Devo would play, I just love Devo.
Monkey men in business suits.
We are not men. We are Devo.
That's good shit. I first got introduced to Devo.
Uncontrollable urge.
I got an uncontrollable urge. I first got introduced to those guys because my brother Joe went to the Tomorrow Club to see them in like 74 or 75. It was real early.
Yeah.
But he went with his friend Ed, and suddenly that music just boomed through the house for weeks at a time.
We are Devo.
We are not men.
We are Devo. Oh, I love Devo. That would be nice to have. If they had the Northeast Ohio thing in there, I think that'd be cool. Tina Turner, I'm surprised that she has not been, after all these years.
By herself without you-know-who.
Yeah.
Because that guy was kind of a dick.
Kinda. Kinda ain't even. But yeah, with old Ike. But see, she goes back to, now see, all those bands, I consider rock and roll because what the definition of rock and roll was when Ellen Freed coined the term. It was people it was the race records, the people singing the race records.
It was one of the first steps in overcoming that sort of thing.
Yes, it was. And it happened in Cleveland, first time, mixed audience, the whole 9 yards. And that's why all those bands like the Supremes and because they were rock and roll at the time. They were the definition of rock and roll.
Sure.
But, so I could see her coming in. Here's another one. This is one of my favorites, though, that I think should get in, is Carole King.
Oh, absolutely. I heard Carole King. What the hell was it? Oh, my God. I just listened to Carole King today because I had the XM on and I had the 70s channel on and bang. And I'm trying to think of what track it was. Absolutely, though. No question.
And all the songs that she wrote for so many people, it just goes back to...
Even that, that's...
Just her songwriting, she should be in there because of her songwriting. She wrote some songs for the Monkees, Aretha Franklin, so many people.
Here's a quick question for you. Monkees, rock and roll band or television creation?
Both.
Yes.
Don Kirshner, who was like in charge of that show, he said it best. He said they were like Pinocchio. They were like the puppet that became a real boy.
I never heard it put that way. That's brilliant. Because I remember being in like first grade at the Watson Elementary School in Austintown in like 1969 and arguing with the other 6-year-olds that the Monkees were better than the Beatles. Anyway, I digress.
But when you listen to the Monkees' music, they got such killer songs. It still holds up.
That's great hooks.
Last Train to Clarksville, Pleasant Valley Sunday, Not Your Stepping Stone, Daydream Believer, Valerie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, I know Harry George is listening. Remember our...
Hi, George.
We did one called Wine Drunk Old Loser.
Oh, my God. That's a classic.
Help hotline ring. It's a Springer thing between a wine drunk old loser and a trailer park queen.
Oh, that was beautiful. I got to download this stuff and bring it down.
Of me as a Burt Reynolds wannabe. The old Trans Am's unblocks for all to see.
That's genius, man. That's
and
genius.
our good times start and end with the welfare check they send. She cut me with a razor and it stings.
No, that was in the... Yeah. That's beautiful.
Actually, we wrote that at Put-in-Bay.
Was that the same day at Put-in-Bay that George knocked out that kid's uncle?
Oh, that was a different day. I wasn't there on that one. Yeah, Uncle, Lieutenant Dan's uncle. Lieutenant Dan's uncle.
Oh, no, George knocked that guy
Oh, that was
out.
Funny. Good times.
Oh,
the Go-Go's, I don't know if the Go-Go's are just a pop band, I don't know.
No, the Go-Go's are good stuff. I mean, I remember because like in the 80s, I was like Mr. Metal Boy. But like later in life, I've started to appreciate other music, especially since my wife started brainwashing me. So I would give the Go-Go's not necessarily...
You'd give them a go-go. You'd give the Go-Go's a go-go.
If you know what I mean. But I would not, maybe not this year, but not too long.
Mary J. Blige, forget that. Psst, out. Jay-Z, psst, out.
You want to know the thing that annoys me about Mary J. Blige?
Everything.
The liquor store up on Belmont and Gypsy in the plaza. They've got two precise, exactly the same Mary J. Blige standees, right? And I'm not even sure what kind of liquor
I was going to say, what is she selling?
I'm not sure she has but like they've got two of them, but they're not even on the floor. They're like on the shelf way up behind the register and everything. Like
overlooking.
Like up here. And you've got two Mary J. Bliges looking down on you. And I keep thinking to myself, is that really necessary?
No. Dionne Warwick. I mean, come on. We don't have Warren Zevon even mentioned, and we're talking about Dionne Warwick.
Where is Warren Zevon? That's my question.
That's my question. That's one guy I would love to have in there.
Why call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because there's a lot of not disrespecting those acts, and there's a lot of great talent in there.
Come on, Janet Jackson. And then Chaka Khan. Really. Priest didn't even get mentioned this time. Jeez. But anyways, And you know what I also find that I think is missing? If you're going to have like these rappers and these soul singers, we're like some of the country people. Why isn't Waylon Jennings in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? He's like one of the guys that bridged the gap between country and rock. Probably now even more is why country sounds the way it does, even though it's not good old Waylon. But I mean, it's like they got that rock feel. And, you know, he was with Buddy Holly. And he was doing Neil Young songs back in the 70s. Well, so why isn't this guy in the rock? And long hair, beard. He brought that whole thing. He got that whole outlaw movement started.
The thing about it is, with music through, say, I don't know when, but all of that is rooted in two things: blues and gospel.
Yep.
It's all rooted in that. And whether whoever came up with it, and whoever, but it's gotten away from everything is blues and gospel. And a lot of it seems very plastic these days.
You know, if you're going to even mention Dionne Warwick, then why aren't you mentioning Glenn Campbell? I mean, look at all the hits that he had, and he was with the Beach Boys.
I am a lineman for the county.
He's a studio
and
guy.
I ride the main road.
Great songs, man.
Searching for the sun for another overload.
Better than Dionne Warwick. Do
My
you know
parents,
the way to San Jose?
Well, it is more rock, but then again, Campbell was a very successful session musician.
That's what I'm saying.
He needs a place in there more than Mary J. Blige does.
I would certainly say. And you know, here's another one. How about Charlie Daniels? Why isn't Charlie Daniels in the rock? Well, because he's a redneck. That's why he's not in there, because there's a political agenda, I think.
Well, that being said, Charlie is in the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Right.
Is that not correct?
Yep.
Okay. But your point is well taken. Charlie's
Who was the
Country.
first guy to bring fiddles and stuff to rock radio? Uneasy Rider, when that came out, that was all over rock radio. Devil Went Down to Georgia. Those were all rock radio, AOR, album rock songs.
What about,
you don't even mention them.
What about Kansas and ELO?
Oh, I think ELO's in.
You got some strings in there, though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a fiddle and a violin. When Johnny went down,
speaking of non rock and roll instruments in rock and roll songs, interesting fact I learned about Jethro Tull is that "Living in the Past" was their first U.S. top 10 single. That seems odd to me because "Living in the Past" is a great track. Don't get me wrong, but there's so many better ones.
There's a lot of crazy stuff out there with a lot of album rock. Oh, Jay Giles Band, Randy Freese. You're exactly right.
Cousin Randy.
The Jay Giles Band. Why isn't the Jay Giles Band in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? If you're going Mary Jane Blige and you're not going Jay Giles, come on. Southside Shuffle ain't nothing but a house party. Goofa with the green teeth. Let me in,
the
bitch.
old stuff, the pre-MTV stuff.
Right.
Because MTV ruined a lot of bands, man. MTV ruined a lot of bands. Perfect example, Dire Straits, ruined by MTV.
I don't know. I think they probably brought...
After that album...
I think Dire Straits, but that Brothers in Arms though, those are all good songs on there.
Yeah, but
those are all
still
good.
After 80 whatnot. But hey, who am I to judge?
But you know what? Mark Knopfler just kind of went on his own thing. He got to the point where he didn't care if he got a hit. He's working with Dylan and some of those people, and the last time I saw him in concert, he was just like, he wasn't even playing any Dire Straits stuff. He was playing all his whatever he was working on at the time.
You reminded me of that time we went to that Springsteen show for the tour for the Seeger sessions.
Oh yeah,
and they spent weeks warning people, look, this ain't an E Street show. You're not going to hear Rosalita. You're not going to hear Streets of Fire. You're not going to hear Thunder Road.
Run.
But still, there were people walking out going, what the is this?
Bruce Springsteen.
People just don't pay attention, bud.
And they really did map that out very well. Look, it's him doing folk songs from Pete Seeger.
Weeks we spent
with a banjo and a violin and an accordion and a trumpet and a tuba. This is what you're
he had a great backing band and the little choir and all that. It was a great show, and we left too damn early because we thought about going to the outside lounge bar. Screw it. Let's go home. I'm tired. 5 minutes later, Bruce shows up at the frickin' bar, and I could have walked out. Hey, remember me? And he might have. Who knows? But still, we had fun, pal.
Oh, I know. But
I know.
Oh, heck, I know. Hey, here's something sad. I'm sure you're bummed out about this.
What do you got?
They want to knock down the old Wedgwood Lanes.
Oh, dude, don't get me started with that joint. My parents, first of all, I'll start out here. The original owners, the Candela family, lived right up the street from us over in Kimberly Acres in Austintown. And my parents bowled league there for years. And my first bowling memory is being like maybe 4 or 5 years old, and my parents were in the banquet room downstairs for the league banquet, but all the women that were in the league were taking turns babysitting all the kids, and we were all up like in a couple of lanes down. Right, dude, they were just letting us fuck around at the bowling alley.
Before bumper bowling, you had to know how to bowl. If you rolled gutter balls before bumper bowling, you were a pussy.
That's it, man. But I was so little that I had to bowl in my stocking feet because they didn't have shoes to fit me, and there were a bunch of other kids doing the same thing. And I bowled junior leagues there when I was in junior high school, along with one of my brothers, and that was just one of the places in Austintown. And it just ain't the bowling alley. It's the Orange Room and the Grist Mill.
Oh, yeah.
Because, a lot of your left end shows happening in those joints.
Oh, yeah. The Orange Room on Sunday night. Sunday night, you couldn't fit another person in there for years. They were waiting to get in. And then the Grist Mill, too. We even had a lot of good times at the Grist Mill. Special Forces, the Blue Flames used to play there. Oh, man. With Milton Blaylock and his brother, we used to have the greatest time there.
Well,
Mike and Harry, the Dvorak brothers.
Oh, yeah. It was a beautiful thing. And it's sad to see a good lane like that go because, I mean, they back in the day, 50 lanes they had down there. And it was always hopping.
They would be jamming. Every company out there had several bowling leagues. Every church had a bowling league. I mean, bowling was so big, and I love bowling. Now, my hometown, I had my two main bowling alleys were Southway on South Avenue, and that was, you could still see the balls come back, and Arena Lanes. Now, Arena Lanes was really, that's where I was bowling, leagues when I was in grade school. That was like our whole little area right there, right on the Lothian, because you had the roller rink, you had Arena Lanes, you had the McDonald's, and you had the game barn up the street where we could play foosball and stuff. So that little area there was like kind of the hub of our whole life. Nice. Shady Run Pool, and then the freak out for the older people. Yeah. So that little circle there, that was like the heartbeat of the South Side. Yep. But the Southway Lanes, that was over on South Avenue, and I tell this story all the time because it deals with Pooba. And one day they had these teen dances there. Yeah. And I tell this story all the time. I sound like a broken record with this one. Is this
the Frisbee story?
No, this isn't the Frisbee story.
Okay.
So anyways, they would have these bands for teen dances on Sunday afternoon. And one day Pooba was playing there. And I don't know why to this day, but the cops busted the place. They raided the place. Obviously, probably people had weed and stuff. I would say it was for weed and soapers. So all I know is somebody says,
Black beauties.
Somebody says, hey, the cops are coming.
And all hell broke loose.
And I run right out the back door. I was kind of right by the back door. And my buddy lived right next door to the bowling alley. He even worked at the bowling alley. And I run out the back door. And next thing you know, man, the Vice Squad comes in, paddy wagons are throwing people in there. It was crazy. It was nuts.
Damn.
But that's my Southway story. And let's see. There was a lot of other ones too. Marvindale and Mar Hill.
Okay. Now, Mar Hill, I remember.
Mar Hill was underneath the Morris Sports. And we used to go play pool there. We used to shoot pool there on Saturday nights or Sundays. So we'd go out there on Sunday. And then Marvindale was down by where the Shell station is now. Right. And they had a building down there. You know why they call that place Shell, don't you?
Why is that?
Because there's plenty of them laying around the parking lot.
But no, No, but back to Wedgwood. The thing about that place is like, yeah, when you reminded me of the pool tables. They had like a fully stocked pool hall. I think they had like at least 4, if not 6 tables in there, and there were a couple of pinball machines.
Oh, love to play pinball.
My mother used to bitch at us for playing pinball.
That was a hoodlum game.
Exactly.
The hoods were playing pinball. You should be learning how to bowl. Stay away from the pool tables and stay away from that damn pinball machine. That's hoodlums.
We were
the Wedgwood Rats were playing pinball.
It's funny you mention a Wedgwood Rats because I saw a funny reference about them to it's some young kid. I can't think of his name, and I wouldn't say it anyway. But does anybody remember the Wedgwood Rats? And I'm like, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, don't get me started. So I didn't start.
Okay.
That's old school. Barracuda jackets are required.
Everybody used to have their own neighborhood bowling alley, though. I know the Ursuline people always used to go to Northside Lanes.
Yeah.
McGuffey Lanes, you had one out there. Grand Lanes, which is now West Side Lanes.
Bowl, yeah.
So are they ever going to open that back up?
They're still open in that the kitchen is keeping them going. But as soon as the restrictions are lifted, bowling will resume, I assure you.
And I think we're getting close. I think we're getting close.
I think we're rounding the curve. You know, speaking of bowling alleys, though, the one you reminded me of, and I told you earlier, another reference about my buddy Rich Berry, his dad that used to run out of Sharon Speedway. He and I were friends in junior high at the old AMS, which is the old Fitch High School that they just tore down up by the well, they didn't just tore it down; they tore it down 2 years ago. Yeah. But there was a little plaza. You had the school. And then the Austintown Library, which only had 1 floor and not that many books. But there's a little
Austintown. What do you expect?
Well, there you go. It's like pretentious Boardman. Anyway, you had a little strip plaza there that used to house the Yoshi Co.
Oh, I know.
That little plaza.
Yeah, then they changed that to High Score, wasn't it?
Before it was Yoshi Co., it was High Score Bowling.
Right.
And me and my buddy Rich used to bowl intramural there in like 7th or 8th grade, some shit like that. But it just popped into my head because I think it was in one of my dreams the other night. And here's the thing: when you're trying to quit smoking and you put on these like nicotine patches,
right?
If you leave them on while you're asleep, nicotine is like LSD for the REM state. You know, it's just like, weird dream number 12. But anyway, there was that used to be a bowling alley called the High Score, and there were 8 lanes in it. And like they had like the shoe station counter that doubled as the snack bar, such as it was. We had such fun in that place. And there, like you say, there used to be a bowling alley on every freaking corner.
And I miss it. I really enjoy bowling. Now, I haven't been bowling in years, but, Bellwick Lanes in Hubbard used to be a big spot.
Bellwick just closed like within the last few years. Yeah.
And I think I mentioned North Side Lanes. All the Ursuline people used to go to North Side Lanes.
Mm-hmm. My dad bowled some leagues there, too.
I'm trying to think of some of my other ones. Kay Lanes in Girard. That used to be a big one. Kay Lanes.
That was sad to see.
How about Holiday Bowl? Jeez, one of the biggest bowling entertainment complexes going back years with the Rip Room and bands and the human beings and the first lighted disco dance floor. And
they maybe still be rolling.
I think
have
they
to
are.
check.
Yeah,
Holiday Bowl is,
They're still open. I'm trying to think. Well, of course, Bowladrome in downtown Struthers. They filmed the Deer Hunter there. Some scenes from the Deer Hunter.
Right.
What's some other ones out there? Well, you had Camelot. I think Camelot's still open.
I believe they are.
But it was like every neighborhood had a bowling alley, and it was always packed, and it was always a good time.
And if you only had a couple of bucks in your pocket and had nothing better to do, and where better to take a first date?
Oh, exactly. Bowling is a good place to take a date because you could sit there and talk and chat and drink and
drink and chat and drink
some more and
you don't have to try to hit a little ball with a stick
unless you go to the pool hall.
The balls are bigger than they are in the other one I'm referencing, though.
Yeah, I know.
Just for safety's sake.
Yeah, I got to say hi to Jody. Jody getting ready for the Daytona 500 coming up this weekend. Boogity, boogity, boogity. She's
Let's
a
go
Ryan
racing,
Blaney
boys.
fan. Let's go for Ryan Blaney.
I think Jody may be the greatest Ryan Blaney fan that I know.
You're right.
She may be.
No, she is. And the greatest Lake Erie fan.
Oh, she is a big fan of the North Coast, too.
Yep.
I've known her since she was 12.
Okay, you kind of said that like a perv.
No, I didn't mean to say it like a perv.
But you did.
But she used to run with my buddy Rich's sister when we were youngsters and dropping acid and going to the Campfield Fair.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's see. I'm just trying to think, though, of how big bowling used to be. Remember bowling shirts, man?
Dude.
You were on your team. You would be in your league and your team, and you would have your bowling shirt.
Pin pals.
And people that would have their own ball and maybe even a locker at the bowling alley.
I've got my own ball and my own locker at the West Side Bowl.
Do you? Okay.
I do, but
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
No, you're not.
No, I am. I'm the one that brought up the whole bowling deal. I'm a bowling fan. I feel bad that I don't get out and bowl nearly as much as I should.
Well, as soon as the Rona's under control, I'll start breaking your balls, and then we'll be good to go.
Oh, you know, and another famous one, Crest Lanes in Warren.
Oh, yeah. My God.
It really breaks my heart to see Crest Lanes now. It's a storage unit.
Yeah, that's a damn shame.
And
I remember what was the name of the bar under the joint?
Studio West.
Studio West. There you go.
That's where
there you go.
Noisy Mama always used to play up there.
Used to go see Noisy Mama, White Noise, all kinds of cool bands up there.
I remember my funniest story about Crest Lanes. Towards the end, they were Niles Lanes. Yeah, Niles Lanes. That's another one.
There you go.
I see Niles Lanes over there on 169. I'd like to buy that place. I wouldn't mind buying a bowling alley and trying to turn it around.
Well, get up off your ass. Ask Nate what to do.
Yeah, really. No, I mean, I think if you get some good food, book some good bands, take some of the lanes out, and I think you might be able to do something.
Dude, it's a beautiful thing.
So, anyways, Crest Lanes.
Yeah.
So it's the last days of Crest Lanes, and Robish from the Funny
Dave
Farm.
Robish.
Dave Robish from the Funny Farm. You know, he was doing.
Proceed.
At some point, the Funny Farm was almost like a rolling crap game because you didn't know where it was going to be next. Wherever you can find a bar and a.
Hey, the game tonight is at wink, wink, nudge,
Lanes.
nudge.
Yeah, so it's at Crest Lanes. So. There was two out there. One we were out there with Mad Dog, like Mad Dog Adams, and the other one was with Basil. And Basil, it was something so stupid. But anyways, we walk into Crest Lanes, and you got 50 lanes, and there's like 4 people bowling. Now, the comedy club was in this, you had to walk down this dark hallway and through this like little, what used to be a bar, and then you're in some kind of back room somewhere, right? And it's a bust, and there's like 15 people there.
Oh, Jesus.
And Basil wants to do this stupid thing with me and him on stage.
But by the way, if I may interject, 15 people at a comedy show in Youngstown ain't bad.
So me and Basil are up there just doing this stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we're doing this stuff, and it was really sucking. It was blowing big time, but it was Basil's idea.
Blowing chunks, but it was his idea.
Next thing you know, there was actually somebody in the audience called up Robish and said, and next thing you know, the guy that was managing pulls me off the stage. Just pulls me off the stage. I was so embarrassed. And I don't get embarrassed easy, but it was like, dude, get off the stage now. He grabbed me by the arm. I'm like, Basil told me to come up here. I'm not just going to jump up on the stage at some guy's show. But it was so funny. And, you had Crest Lanes. But it's sad to see that, when
Absolutely, man.
I remember my old man. He put in some lanes at whatever that bowling alley is out on Parkman Road, out on 422 on the other side of Warren.
Okay.
Was that Echo? Maybe it's Echo Lanes.
I don't know.
So maybe
I don't know.
I think it was Echo Lanes. And back in the day, you know, he was a carpenter, and they had a bunch of these carpenters out there, and they were nailing down that hardwood with hammers. There was no air tools or anything. These guys were building those lanes with hammers.
That's what they were doing up at West Side, man. They were using like very few power tools.
And so they used to have this thing up at Geneva on the Lake back in the day. And like if you could drive a nail with 3 hits or something, you win a doll.
Yeah.
So my old man and a couple of these other guys that were working on this bowling alley, they were up there. They were winning stuff left and right, man. They were just banging
That's
these
2.
nails in. Yeah. You know, finally it was like, okay, guys, time to move on.
Move along.
Right.
Hey, you know, speaking of bowling alleys, and especially like Wedgewood Lanes, because they haven't decided to demolish it yet. But they're thinking about it. But is Harry George still tuned in?
He might be.
Well, I hope he is, because used to be when we got back into bowling and Wedgewood was still rocking, and this was before West Side Lanes or West Side Bowl had taken over Grand Lanes.
Yeah. Yeah, West Side. There was actually a West Side Lanes.
The West Side Lanes is now an RC racetrack for radio-controlled cars.
Exactly. Oh, you know what another crazy bowling alley was, too? Idora Lanes on the corner of Glenwood and Canfield Road. There's one for you.
Wow.
And I used to go down the steps in that building.
But you go back to the Wedgewood Lanes, and we were going there for a while with our good friend Paul Graham.
Oh, okay.
And Pigpen used to love coming up to bowl with us. Not that he gave a shit about how he bowled. He just enjoyed being with his friends. And there was one day, as much as he professed to not giving a shit, because the way Pigpen bowled, he would like just pick up a ball and like hold it by his side and kind of walk up to the edge of the lane and whip it down the lane. And it was so off target that we used to tease him about. Paul, start 2 lanes over, and then you might get a strike. Well, there came one day where he beat 100. He cracked 100, and as much as he claimed he didn't give a shit how he bowled, he just enjoyed being with his friend. That man was grinning like a jackass eating thistles, and I miss that dumb son of a bitch every day. I love him to hell.
Well, I'm getting the bowling Jones going now, man. I really am.
Let's go.
Well, let's do it. Let's get out there.
Come on,
kiddo. What are you saying?
Look up a Facebook group called Bill's Bowling Buddies. It's Bill DeChico. He bowls around the area as well, and he's an old timer, and he'll show you a thing or two.
Stupid criminals in the news.
Oh, Jesus, don't get me started.
Reports said a driver of a car pulled over in Youngstown on Thursday morning for an improper turn offered to eat a bag of white powder police found in her purse. Hey,
Fred?
She said it was baking soda. Hey, I'll eat that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you would.
Well, you know, you got to give her points for originality.
Yeah.
But I actually made that work once.
What? Hey, this is baking powder. Here, I'll just eat it.
Num, num, num.
How stupid you gotta be? Hey, is that a bottle of Jack in your car? No, it's iced tea. Hold on here. Let me drink it.
I'm David Lee Roth.
Oh, you got a good one. We were talking about stupid criminals in the news. The dude with the wreck.
Oh, well, which dude with the right? The guy with
in Cornersburg.
it was in Cornersburg. It was around what was Hammond Drive and Kirk Road, or anyway, the guy tries to drive around.
Well, you got to set up the scene. The whole accident scene.
Okay. There's an accident in Austintown, Cornersburg, and the police set up a roadblock, and the Ohio Edison guys were there working on the pole.
The arrow.
And the arrow, and the whole police pull over, and like everything's set up just the way it should be until some dumb son of a bitch comes barreling toward the roadblock and decides, rather than following the arrow, he decides to go right, bump over the curb, almost hit a cop, and accelerate toward the ODOT workers. And APD, God bless them, got the guy in a nearby parking lot, but it's like when they asked him for his license, all the guy could produce was a credit card. Come on. I haven't been that blitzed since I was a teenager. Give me a break. Get your shit together, son.
And on top of that, he had a DUI 6 months earlier.
That's why he didn't have a license to give them, because he had just got out of jail on a DUI.
What's this here?
Here you go, officer.
There. Oh, here's one for you.
Yeah.
A Portland man was arrested on multiple charges after letting his car roll into a deputy's patrol car. The deputy saw the man in a red Volkswagen Jetta rapidly approaching him from behind. He pulled over and let the car buzz by him at 90 miles an hour. So the guy sees the cop. He comes up on him, 80 miles an hour, and passes him.
You gotta figure at this point, I'm screwed anyway. I'll take the ticket. Wham.
The Jetta had a bumper sticker on the back that read, "Not drunk, avoiding potholes." So when the cop finally pulled him over, he let the car drift into the cop's car. And then it turned out he had a concealed pistol. He had a loaded Glock. He had a bag of Coke. He had beer. He had all this stuff in there. So I was just going to my friend's house. Yeah, he had it all. So he's going.
It's not mine.
He's going. Here's one. Austintown. Austintown in the news.
Awesome. We pronounce it Awesome Town.
Austintown. Is that what you call it?
That's it. That's
Austintown police could be dealing with a modern day Robin Hood. Did you see this guy?
Oh, yeah. He's the guy
he went to turn himself in.
I've been robbing from the rich to steal from the poor.
And
you know what I mean.
They said, well, where have you been robbing? Who have you been robbing? And nobody could testify against the guy. So they says, okay, get the hell out of here. He goes across the street to Walmart and comes wheeling out of Walmart with a shopping cart full of shit. And then they arrest the modern day Robin Hood.
I'm giving it away to the indigent. I mean, I applaud the guy's intentions, Fred. I applaud the guy's intentions, but you got to plan it out a little better than that, pal.
Right. First of all, you don't want to turn yourself in.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you turn yourself in, who beats your ass?
I don't know.
Yeah, stitches get stitches. So if you're snitching on yourself, who's gonna,
Yeah, you're a snitch. Not only are you a thief, you're a snitch.
On yourself.
Asshole. Dumbass. An elderly man accused of leaving more than a dozen dead animals on an old neighbor's grave pleaded guilty. He was arrested after a surveillance video caught him dressed in overalls and a woman's wig, placing dead animals on the headstone of a neighbor he had a grudge against.
I want to know more about this woman's wig.
Really. There's really something going on in that one.
Hey, who am I to judge?
You're not, so don't even worry about it.
I'm not.
Hey, how about the Gorilla Glue lady?
No,
Have you been following the Gorilla Glue lady?
Okay, one of my geek hobbies is building the models.
Okay.
And the Gorilla Glue is a very handy thing to use.
Could you sniff it?
No.
Oh, it's not the old school testers or tutors. Tutors.
Testers.
Testers? Testers or tutors?
Get you a brown paper bag and... Anyway.
Sniffing glue used to be a big thing back in the day.
Well, that's the unfortunate part of the anti-drug programs that they gave us when I was like in, 4th, 5th, 6th grade back in the 70s, is that they didn't deter me as much as they made me curious. But that being said,
there's nothing wrong being curious.
Hey.
By the way, it's 2021. You can be as curious as you want to be.
And I am. But the thing is, no, the Gorilla Glue does not sniff out very well. But I can't believe that this woman was that freaking dumb.
And now she wants to sue Gorilla Glue because there was no warning label.
Don't put this in your hair, lady.
And now on top of this, there's this other dumbass that come out there and he thought it was bullshit, so he wanted to do one and he glued a red Solo cup to his face. And needless to say, they're not sure if they're going to be able to save his upper lip.
Oh, honey, no. And now he's going to look like Steve Mnuchin. Sorry, didn't mean to get political again.
Oh, but I'm telling you, the Gorilla Glue.
Come on.
So you'll see a warning label on Gorilla Glue coming up in the near future. What are you reaching for? The crown.
What's it to you?
Give me a little jigger.
Little drinky poo.
Yeah. You are the liquor. The liquor will figure it out, Vike.
As it always will.
Oh, political correctness run amok. Here we go. This is the latest one. Have you heard this?
No.
You ready for this one? This is yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Actually, we should just be drinking out of the bottle and passing it back and forth. But I got this cold sore on my lip. And that's why I'm glad we're wearing masks these days. It's like, holy cow, what's going on with you, man? But anyways, this happened over in Great Britain, where they're, I guess, politically correct and woke over there too. Health officials ordered nurses at 2 hospitals to substitute the term breast milk for human milk, because they want to be more inclusive to transgender people. So you can't say breast milk anywhere. The term breastfeeding and breast milk should be swapped for more gender-inclusive phrases, such as, like I said, human milk.
What?
Have we?
How do you throw this stuff at me without me knowing what's coming? Because and I say this as a person that supports LGBTQ rights, has friends that are transgender, but how you going to get milk from a bull? I don't know.
But I mean, that's the new thing. It's human milk, not breast milk. So just keep that in mind when it comes up in conversation with your.
Like I told you earlier, friends. Fred, I haven't needed one of those since I was probably like 2 or 3. So to hell with it.
There you go.
That's not where the goodies are, kids.
A Georgia substitute teacher has been arrested after she allegedly masturbated in front of her 2nd grade class during school hours and recorded it on her phone and sent it to friends. I read this. I almost thought that was fake.
I did too.
It's like, dude, where'd you get that?
It's the fake stuff that's making this real stuff happen. Lock her to hell up. Come on. You can't go to the bathroom? I get it. You're horny in the middle of the day. It happens to some of us. It might happen to all of us. I don't know. But come on. Go to the frickin' bathroom, woman. There's children in the womb.
All right, we got to wrap this up already. Could you believe it?
Hell, I made it through a half a show.
You did. All right. Cheers, brother. Thanks for coming down. And we got to wrap it up. Mario was like, hey, come on, guys. It's almost 5 o'clock.
Mario, where are you?
I'm back here. All right, Mario. He's in the back. Hey, thanks, Mario, for everything. Viking Jim, thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks for having me, pal.
You made sense. And
for once.
Yep. Cheers. Let's, we going to shoot it?
Skull.
Okay. No. Bootmo.
Yeah.
Hey.
All
right. Bootmo.
Hey.
Bootmo.
Hey.
Bootmo.
Hey.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us. Thank you.